Welcome to the Change Your Plans podcast. It's Joe and Vinny, and you're probably going to have to turn that off because you know how Facebook is about music.
Yeah.
That's probably already muted in 32 countries, if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on. I'm just going to post our shit live here. All right. I'm in it to win it. What's up, my friend?
Vinny was early, and I was already all set up and ready to go.
Yeah. I tend to be very early at times.
You are. I like that. And let's go. I already had everything set up. I already had ice in the glasses.
Cheers.
Good week.
Yes, we're gonna have a good time. My sister's watching on the big screen apparently.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it.
You know, she's already claimed her number one fan spot for today. So we'll see what happens.
I have a funny story about a number one fan, but I'm not going to tell it. I'm not going to tell it yet.
You're just teasing it?
I got to tease that one.
All right.
It's really funny.
All right. So, what's new, dude? Kind of a...
Oh, man. Yeah. Just a long week. I've been doing a lot of shows. I've been doing some fill-in work, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do it all the time, but it seems like you're doing everything this week.
I don't jackhammer sidewalks. I don't build anything.
No, there it is. That's what that meant. I've never heard that before.
You never heard that before?
No.
I don't do physical labor.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to a client about that today, that I'm like the least manly man that I know. Like I can't do... Like,
no, you're not. You're sitting next to the least manly man.
No,
you know? I can't do anything.
Like, I like going to pick out throw pillows. Yeah.
I think you're gay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Is it the shorts again?
I'm going to be honest. Those are probably the longest ones you've ever had. I mean, they're short by anyone else's standards, but for you, those are actually what do you call those? Like a mid? Is that like a mid?
It's a mid thigh.
Yeah,
it's like a 5-inch. It's not the 3-inch.
Yeah, you don't want to see the 3-inch.
No, you do, ladies. You do. My sister doesn't, so that's why I wore my 5-inch, because she's watching right now.
That's the best. That's appropriate.
So besides work, what else is new?
Oh God, no, nothing new in the real world.
I'm gonna bring it up just because I like setting things off.
Yeah.
So I was with my I almost said son-in-law, but that's fucking weird. My stepson, and he's like, "Yo, did you see that Trump got shot?" And I'm like, "I thought it was a meme, bro. Like I thought it was fake, like an AI thing, but it really fucking happened." But what the fuck, dude? Like,
yeah.
You know what? You know what's crazy too? Like, some people are gonna probably leave some fucking comments, but I don't give a shit, because it's people went like right from, oh my God, President almost assassinated, to he's gonna win the presidency. Like within like a 30-minute fucking time frame. Like, we didn't care, like, oh my God, that's crazy, someone almost fucking died. Or like in this case, someone did die behind him. It was like, oh, well, he's gonna win now. Like, we just move on that fucking quickly, which is just
it's a little much. I don't know if you remember in 2004 or I think it was 2004. No, 7. Howard Dean. Do you remember him? He was oh God, I can't remember what state he was from. He was favored to win a primary for the Democrats, and he lost by a lot.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Are you going to drop out of the race?" And he was like, "No." And he gets on stage and we're going to go to Milwaukee. We're going to go to Detroit. We're going to go to California. Whoa.
Yeah.
And they were like, that guy's mentally unhinged. And we had never heard from him again. His political career ended because he got overly excited.
Yeah.
about a primary.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look at what we're looking at, and it's kind of scary. It really is.
It's wild, but like it's almost like you almost expect something, right? Like I think it's crazy that people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it happened! I can't believe it happened at a Trump rally," coming from the guy who incites shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Trump basher. I don't give a fuck about Biden, frankly. But I think people the shock and awe of like, I can't believe this happened is wild given the tenor in which he presents himself. But I'm glad he lived. I'm glad that assassination didn't take place. I think it's crazy that people go to that last resort.
Yeah.
But I think I know for me, like we were at the gym this morning and the whole, well, that's my guy. He's my hero now. Look at him. Like I'm not going to lie. Like he really didn't do anything heroic other than he survived, which is fantastic. But like the whole spin that goes into it right away that, you know, he did something courageous is just fucking wild to me. While you had, I didn't even know this until this morning, that the guy who passed away, who was shot, like laid down on his daughter and wife and took the fucking bullet.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that until like a week fucking later. Like that's how crazy the media is to me. Like how do we not know about that shit? But we're like, all right, we already got t-shirts out on Trump. Like I don't understand what is going on, to be honest.
Yeah, well, so here I've heard a few different things that are contradictory, which I've heard it was an inside job, but I've also heard it was staged.
Yeah,
and those things are at odds with one another. It's one or the other. It can't be both of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. If it's anything, it'd have to be an inside job because, like, for me, like, the guy's 140, 150 yards away on a fucking roof. Like, a roof. Like, you think that would be priority number fucking uno. And you get some lone wolf, sketchy fucking kid climbing up a ladder with a fucking tripod and an AR. You're like, huh, fucking missed that one.
You know what's funny is people have long debated whether Lee Harvey Oswald had the actual training to pump off the shots that killed Kennedy. And I don't know if we really can definitively figure out whether he was an expert marksman or not. There's no way to know.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this shooter is, I mean, as kind of a dumbass, I don't mean to say, and I've heard, some people have gotten in trouble for saying it was a bad shot, but I mean, it was.
Yeah.
If you were, and I've heard the CIA maybe plotted this, if you were going to assassinate Trump, wouldn't you pick someone that knows how to use that gun?
Well, there's two ways to go about it. Listen, I do a lot of criminal work, right? So if you're trying to make it look like it wasn't a fucking setup, then you're going to get someone who just looks like he's a fucking crazy person who bought a gun at fucking Walmart.
Right.
Right? Like, but then you heard things of like, well, there was a cop was on the roof, the kid turned around real quick, pointed the gun, guy fell off, and then she took his shots. But I think this also goes to the news coverage of like, we never get the full fucking story. We just, like, instead of saying, hey.
Yeah, but you know what? The story comes out piecemeal because in the internet age, there's not like a reporter gathering facts and then he reports like, hey, here's the latest news.
Well, no,
they don't have that anymore.
So I was listening to a podcast with Trevor Noah today, and he was just like, he wishes that, like, hey, attempted assassination, as soon as we get the facts, we'll come right back to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, in an ideal world, you gather all this stuff and then it comes out. But I think it's, I just think it's crazy that, and then it's a week later and it doesn't feel like, not that it's not a big deal, but it's like now people are talking about how the vice president looks like someone who would play his son in a movie. Right?
Funny.
Right? Like, or like you're watching like a convention and the person you walk out there is fucking Amber Rose.
That was a little surprising.
Like it's fucking wild. But on the flip side, the fucking Dems march out Biden, and the dude's like, you know what a black job is? A black job is being vice president. Like what are we doing out here in this world? Like I think
well, you got two guys that are dimwits, and you're trying to have them match wits, and it's not impressive.
But like, why are these the only people we have fucking running?
I'm with you.
Like it is
well,
wild.
don't forget there's Wormbrain, RFK. He'll scoop up about 2.5% of the vote. Probably just enough to ruin it for one of these guys.
Yeah, I think it's just like for me, it's disappointing that we're at the point where, like, and you get two sides. People are like, they literally say, "I wish that they didn't miss," which is fucking insane. You're just a piece of shit human being. And then on the other side, you're making T-shirts, be like, "He's the strongest president in the fucking entire world." Like,
yeah.
And then it's just, I don't get it. But I thought it was crazy. And I think the way the coverage was, and then how we just moved on from it.
It's weird. So I want to tell you something funny I heard today. Somebody said, he's more gangster than you now. He has felonies and he's been shot. That's very funny. Somebody said that they thought this was God protecting Trump. And I couldn't help but think to myself, then how did God lose in 2020?
Yeah.
Mysterious ways, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
it's just,
that doesn't seem. I mean, the Democrats must be really good.
Yeah,
to have pulled that off.
I don't get it. It's just it's wild. I think it's just wild times. I think it's scary times. And I've always been that guy who's just like, you know what, I don't care who's in office. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing in my life and keep it moving. You know, regardless of the policies and what people are presenting to the U.S. and the fucking world. But I think at this point, it's just scary, bro. It's just like you're just hoping that, regardless of who's president, the people who are actually running the government have a fucking half a brain.
Yeah.
But it was wild, man. It was just a weird fucking time. Like, and then you watch like the Secret Service lets the president fucking or former president stand up and fucking like, what are we doing?
I don't know. The whole thing was weird. Let me tell you, I want to tell you a historical story.
All right.
And I think this is very pertinent. And I want everyone to understand, especially if you're an anti-Trump person. Okay. In 54 BC, Julius Caesar crosses the Rubicon.
Yeah, I remember that. I was there.
Civil War breaks out in Rome.
It was a warm day.
And Caesar surprise attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought he was going to wait till winter was over and spring came. And he was like, fuck it. And they just went for it. And Rome was unprepared. Sacks the city. Pompey, who was the co-consul of Rome. So they had co-presidents in ancient Rome, so that no one guy had all the power. They were
ahead of the time.
They knew. So Pompey and Caesar now get their armies together. Caesar kicks his ass. They have a battle in Africa. Caesar kicks everyone's ass again. Pompey flees to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. King Ptolemy, who was Cleopatra's brother and husband and co-pharaoh, sees Pompey coming ashore, and he sends out a welcoming party, and they cut Pompey's head off.
Welcome.
They knew Caesar was pursuing. They're like, he's going to love this. And so Caesar shows up, and they're like, look what we did. Not cool. Even though they were in the middle of a civil war, Caesar's reaction was, that's the co-president of Rome.
Yeah.
What? No way, dude. That's not cool. And that's why he ended up teaming with Cleopatra and getting involved in the Egyptian civil war, which they obviously defeated and killed her brother.
Obviously.
So my point is,
I had no idea, by the way.
It doesn't matter how you feel about these guys. Yeah. I think that office is bigger than the person.
Yeah.
And you could argue, hey, look, I don't like what this guy did. I think you still have to respect the office. It's a hard job. I don't think anybody that's in that job has enough power and authority to ruin it for everybody. You might not like the way things are going now. Maybe you don't like the Biden agenda. Maybe you thought Trump was the worst human being on the planet, and maybe you still think he is. And that's fine. But
you still gotta respect the office.
Yeah, I think that's important. I really do. We don't want to. I don't think we want to devolve into the kind of people that do this. Now, don't forget, in 2017, Steve Scalise and the Republican baseball team were practicing for their annual game, and some left-wing lunatic showed up. And again, a bad shooter, thank God. Yep. He clipped Scalise, but otherwise, I think he missed everybody else. He just missed. And tragedy was averted, but it's like, Gabby Gifford took a gun to the face by a right-wing lunatic who was like, she's going to take all the guns. Shoot her in the face. Watch what happens now. More likely to lose your guns that way.
Yeah.
But we're like, we don't want to devolve into political violence, but it's been happening for years. I just don't want to see us. I think a presidential candidate, no matter how you feel about these guys, I think that's a step too far. And that's, I hear a lot of people talk about civil war in this country, but it's going to be different this time, which obviously, because I know a lot of couples where one is one party and one is the other. What are you talking about?
But imagine if it was a successful assassination, the uproar and the shit show that this country would be in right now. One, and I think, and now while you were talking, and I had asked an earlier question, how come we don't have other people better running? And it's just because the job is fucking hard and people don't want it. Like that's the other thing. But I think you're spot on with that. Like regardless of what side of the fucking aisle you fall on, like you gotta be disappointed just in general and that type of shit. But on the flip side, I'm like a reap what you sow fucking do, right? Like, so I tell my clients all the time, you act a certain way, you got to understand there's a ripple effect, and that ripple is eventually going to come back to fucking you, right? So if you incite like rebellion and things of that, like, not that you should ever have to go anywhere and expect to get assassinated, but it's just, I think, like, we're able to move on because it's just like, oh, okay, they're out there, keep it fucking moving. But I just think it's a fucking crazy time. I think there's a lot more division in this country that people fucking acknowledge, and it's fucking wild on both ends. And I don't, what I don't understand either, before we move on from this, is the why, like, if you're hardcore Republican, like, you just, no matter what,
right?
Like, and if you're a Democrat, like, no matter what, it's here.
I annoy people because I'm not like that. I follow the factual evidence, and I think factual evidence should inform you on everything. I don't think you should just blindly follow ideology, not political, not religious, not anything. I think you got to follow the facts. You got to use your brain, understand things. Listen, sometimes the things that you come across, the facts that you see about something, don't support your ideology. You can ignore that and just be like, I don't care. I think you're doing yourself a terrible disservice. I have people, I work in conservative radio, and I have a lot of people that call me a rhino, or they call me a liberal. And I talk to people that are liberals that think I'm, far right. It's all on what your perspective is. But I'm a big fan of the United States of America. And I don't like the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep. I know we talked about that.
Right? I did talk about that. Listen, I'm as invested as a person's going to get. I don't need to recite lines. I think that's weird, and I think it's unnecessary. I love the flag. I respect it. I don't care if other people protest it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. When I hear people say, oh, troops died. Yeah, that's right. For the rights. I know a lot of people who are in the military who are like, I don't even agree with Colin Kaepernick, but I'm glad he did that.
Well,
that is what we fight for, so that you have the right to protest.
Correct. Like, it's that's like the foundation of being a citizen of the United States. You have the ability to do that, right? You have the ability to freely disagree and not have to worry about the repercussion of it, right? Like
Right.
that's the beautiful part about this country of what it's supposed to be. But we're at a point now where, we can't without having some type of fear. Hold on, my sneaker man is texting me.
Elliot, why don't you swing over here for a minute? Come around the table just for a minute.
on.
You say hi to everybody.
We got a guest over here. It's my
What's
man right
going
here.
on?
What are you doing?
Tell everybody where you just came from.
I just came from a music camp, and
Tell them what you sing.
well, we stopped doing Seven Nation Army and Creep, and when I come around, we did.
90s music.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? 80s pop?
Yeah,
Who's that?
I don't know. Honestly, I only know like 90s stuff.
All right.
Like
All
Michael
right. Hey,
Jackson.
let's go work on a song, and then we'll let you sing live. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, to be young again and just not give a rip, dude.
This kid is adorable.
He is.
And the other boys, they don't like him in his class. They don't like him. The girls love this kid. One of the girls in his class, her and her mom and the boyfriend, very cool people. We really like that. And they moved just down my street.
Yep.
And I love this. They just pop by.
I love that. Dude,
You know what I mean? Like it'll be like
love that.
7:00 and the kid like knocks at the door like,
Yeah.
"Can Elliot play?"
Yeah.
And she's adorable. And they get along really well.
Do you
He
get
said,
along with the parents?
"Oh yeah, they're super cool." Christina and Austin, they're really cool people. Really dig those two. And I don't normally like people, especially neighbors. It's weird.
Man, I wish I lived in like a cool neighborhood where I could hang out with my neighbors.
I hung out with my neighbors for a few years, and mostly, I don't anymore.
I think that's what's wrong with like our society. We don't have neighborhoods anymore. Like
No, you're right.
we don't like
people
that,
are
that was our entire
people are
life was-
assholes.
Yeah, but like when I was a kid, like you hung out with your neighbors. Like even if they didn't even have kids, it'd be like some fucking old lady. You're just sitting out on the porch eating fucking cookies. But like it was a good time. Like that, like I had there was one couple in my neighborhood. Mike passed away, but like he was like 85. Like that's the only people I wanted to hang out in my neighborhood because they're out in the driveway.
Yeah.
They're fucking chit chatting.
Have you seen my old man neighbor?
No, not yet.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, God.
I moved here in 2012. And we have like a shared like side lawn, like off
Mhm.
my garage. There's some more land, then his yard starts.
So the direct neighbor.
Direct neighbor. So first time I bought the house, I probably went about 12 weeks before I mowed my lawn for the first time.
Oh,
It needed a mowing.
I would flip.
And I mowed it, and I mowed a little bit, I guess, on his side.
Yeah.
I didn't do it on purpose. I don't enjoy mowing the lawn. That's why I waited 12 weeks to do it. Next day, I'm backing out of my driveway, and this guy flags me down, and he goes, and he's Italian, I'm Italian, so I could do the accent, and this isn't offensive. He goes, "Why do you cut to my lawn?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" "You cut on my lawn." I go, "Oh, dude, you know me. You know how I am." I go, "Oh." I go, "Did I? I didn't mean to." I go, there's no line there. I didn't know where the line was. I go, "I was actually trying to cut less, to be honest with you." I said,
My bad.
I think I drifted. It was a drift. I went in like a Seinfeld bit.
Did he get mad?
He looks at me again and he goes, "Why you cut my lawn?" And I was like, "All right, dude, peace." And I just drove off. I thought, what a maniac.
You guys better now?
No, we're not better now. We have had, this guy's like 75 years old. And for the last 10 years, we have had multiple face-to-face where I'm like, I'm not fucking with your stuff. I don't know why your flowers are dead. You think I poisoned your flowers? Are you serious?
Hold on.
Yo, what up?
What's going on? Welcome to the show.
Podcast right now?
Yeah.
We got all the kids on here. What are you doing, dude? Golfing?
No, I just got home.
There's a dog.
Oh, look at the doggy.
All right, yo. I'll see you when I get home.
All right,
Later. Kids everywhere in this podcast.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, this insanity has gone on for years.
Yeah, but you can't blame the guy. The guy's 75, dude. They got nothing else to do. Like,
Here's my thought.
oh boy.
All right, when I was 12 years old, my grandfather lived with us, old Portuguese guy, and got stung by a bee, and he was allergic to bees. He was also an alcoholic, so he was shit-faced, and he passed out in my yard.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God I go running in the backyard, and I find him laying face down, and I called 911, and we
Mhm.
saved his life.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's 1,000 years old next door.
Yeah.
If God forbid anything ever happened to him, and he's laying in his yard, clinging to life,
You're not doing anything?
I'm saying, but I'm probably the guy who would find him. Don't you want to be on good terms with me? You know what I mean? I could rush to call 911, or I could pour a glass of Dos Hombres.
No, like I think like they don't give a fuck. Like I will tell you my favorite story about my grandfather, my mom's dad. This dude was like as French could be. Like eats ketchup, potato chips. I can't understand what he's saying. Throws darts at me as I'm walking by. So for some fucking reason, we went to St. Joe's Church in Bristol. I have no fucking idea. And I'm on the back of his motorcycle, me, him, and his buddy. So his buddy falls asleep in church, fucking snoring up a storm. So the priest comes over. He's like, "Hey, bud, could you wake your friend up?" My grandfather's like, "Why don't you wake him the fuck up? You're the one who put him to sleep." And I'm like,
God, yeah, wow,
"Whoa, whoa,
rough crowd."
rough." But I can't wait to get to that age where, like, one, I could just fart while I'm talking to somebody. Like, I just want to be able to shit my pants and just, you can't say anything because I'm that age, and then just say crazy shit. And they'll be like, "Oh, just an old fucking guy, just an old dude," you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I told this one. So my grandfather, who just passed away, my dad's dad, we're at like a family party, and my wife has never met my grandfather before. So she's sitting there. He's like, "Been married before?" She's like, "Yep." Looks at me. "Don't stay with her." Like,
Oh, wow.
like she's sitting here, dude. She'll never love you. She doesn't know what love is. And I'm like, "Grant." She's like, "She's right here, dude. And you're gonna be taking care of someone else's problem." And then people are like, "Oh, it's just Grandpa being old."
Well, Grandpa's from the 20s. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. That's how it was back in my day.
But yeah, I think that's the one thing. Like, I always tell my wife, I wish we had like a neighborhood where like the neighbors hung out, had a block party.
We used to have game night like once a month, and I grew to despise those people.
Right.
What are you doing?
Like, he's just getting some airtime, bro.
Yeah, I let you come on for like a quick spot. You're not co-hosting.
Yeah. Dude, so I got this new game. Are we ready for it? Are we gonna bust it out? What do you think?
Yeah.
All right, so I got this new game. We got a card. We pick a card. We answer the question. If you guys got questions in the comments, hit us up. More than happy to answer. Ooh, I'm gonna let you pick. You get to pick the card.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Share the story of your first heartbreak.
Oof, you go first.
Why do I got to go first? My first heartbreak. I remember roughly the year.
What year was it, Joe?
It was 1994.
All right, I was a freshman in high school. So.
It was 1994. And
Person's name?
would you just say?
What's the person's name?
Oh, I'm not going to say the person's name.
No.
Here's what I will tell you. I won't tell you the person's name, but I'll tell you this. I cheated on a person. And I'll tell you right now, it was like in the moment at that time, it was like the worst thing I had ever done. And I felt really bad.
Yeah.
Now, I eventually broke up with that person because I had to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
And I was very sad about that.
So this was your heartbreak?
Yes.
So let me.
I know it's weird. It was me dumping somebody.
So let me get this straight. So your biggest heartbreak was somebody you cheated on, then broke up, and then you felt bad about it, and that's your biggest heartbreak.
Yeah, that was my
fucking
heart was
wild.
broken.
Like that is your heart was.
I was kind. She wanted to stay together even after I told her what happened,
no.
and I was like, no, that's not gonna work. You'll always have that over me. We're young. We'll meet other people. And I got up and walked out. And I've never said or talked to that person ever again.
That's such a bad heartbreak.
I've seen that person face to face twice. Ran into that person like in public. And once that person tried to say hello to me, and I went, and I walked off. And then the other time I saw that person, she looked like she wanted to say something, and I just moved on.
Wow. That's so weird.
Listen, when we broke up, and again, I said she was like, willing to give it another go. And I didn't want to. I felt so bad about what I had done. And here's the other thing. I didn't just cheat once or with just one person.
But I don't understand how this is your biggest heartbreak.
Because you got to understand something. For many years afterwards, I was sad about it. I was heartbroken. I struggled to be in relationships beyond that because I thought like I had really again, somebody, it was like I realized I had loved somebody and I didn't really maybe know it in the moment.
In the moment. There it is.
And
there it is, gentlemen.
Right? I'm saying, so you cheat and you're like, oh my God, I'm such an asshole. Why do I feel like an asshole?
Yeah.
Did I love that person? Oh my God, I did. And then that person was like, well, I can forgive you. And I was like, nah, I got to take the L on this one.
Yeah, but did you realize you love this person while she said I'll take you back, or was it like down the line, like years? You're like, why do I?
Oh
feel
no,
bad?
yeah, it was probably it was in the weeks afterwards where I was like, that was stupid.
Yeah,
I think I was trying to be a good person. I was also dealing with my guilt, so it was sort of a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah,
and I mean, literally, I went like 6 years without being in like a real steady, serious relationship after that. I just wasn't into anybody. I would meet people and be like, I had experienced and felt love and the heartache of love.
Yeah.
And I would meet other chicks and, whatevs, but I'd be like, nah, I don't love you. This isn't going to work. There was a series of those.
I was very transactional in my dating life too, but like I wouldn't drag it out. I would literally, especially in college, I'd just go to the macaroni grill because it looked fancy, but it was cheap. But I would just sit down. I'd be 20 minutes in, and I'm like, no. They'd be like, what? And I'm like, this isn't gonna work out. Like I really never gave anyone a chance to develop it. But I was always like in relationships too. Like I am a fucking hopeless romantic.
So what's the first time you got fucked up about it though? Somebody was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I'm blowing your best friend."
I think
that happened. I was guessing.
Wow, that one hit close to home.
Oh God, Cindy Lou, you.
I think like the Cindy Lou. I think my first like true, like really like fucking threw me for a loop. I was dating a girl in college for like 3 years.
It's a lot of time invested.
Yeah, and I think it was one of those things. So I never cheated. I'm not a cheater. Like, I just fuck it, get rid of you. Like I don't have the mental wherewithal to deal with all of that. But I probably wasn't the nicest guy to her at the time. She was like one of the nicest people like I ever met, and I could just be as mean as I wanted to be. And I'm a jokester, like, but she was always the butt of it. I was wearing a do rag. She's like this Italian girl from Fairfield, like.
Oh yeah, I can totally see this.
But I remember, yeah, I think she was the one who had the extra activity when it was all said. And our relationship was riding out. But I remember, I was fucking. It was a summer. I just remember like Usher just came out with like Confessions and Burn, like that whole track, and I would just sit there and I'm like, and then it kind of like you, I played it back. I'm like, man, I really fucked this shit up, right? Like,
what was her name? Cindy Lou, did you say?
Marielle.
Yeah.
No,
naming names.
It is what it is. But yeah, I think that was like my first, like big boy relationship. But I've like ever since I was a kid, I was a fucking hopeless. Like I remember Katie Bernash I dated in 4th grade, and I used to write her fucking letters all the time. And then one day her parents moved, and I never heard from her again. And I would just keep writing letters, hoping she'd be home one day. Like it was some weird shit. But yeah, that was it. But yeah, dude, that one. Because I was just going into law school and it was a shit show. Then we tried to make it work again. But then at that time, like, I remember I had just met my ex-wife and I was still kind of hanging out with, like, I thought, like, was going to be the one. And that was a fucking shit show. I remember one time, she's like, that's funny. You're the girl you're dating kind of looks like me. And it was like on like MySpace, and my fucking ex-wife went fucking ballistic. And that was the end of that. But, yeah, that was tough, but I think you need that. I had a client ask the other day, like, how do you get back into like dating, and like how do you trust somebody again? And I think that's like for me, like I mean, I'm all in. Like no matter what happens, if I'm going in the relationship, I think you have to go all in, because I think finding the one is definitely worth that fucking heartache at the end of it, right? Like I think it's 100% worth it.
Well, again, right? And it's funny that the story I just told you about my first heartache probably applies to 3 different situations that I was in. I don't cheat anymore, but I used to. You know what I mean? I did. I did, and that was wrong.
Yes.
Vincent has glittered Connecticut women with roses and jewelry for decades. I buy that.
You're big way to knock me out. I am the king of flowers. I like flowers. I like to get my wife flowers. But like, yes, ever since I had a car and could go get flowers, I got flowers. I mean, a shout out to my dad. I think I got that from him, but he was giving flowers to other women and not my wife. I mean, his wife, but
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so it's kind of ironic that I do it and they actually make it to my wife. So I did learn some things from him.
Yep.
Shout out to him for that one. But yes, I do like I like giving gifts. I did, even as a kid. It was a good time.
You know what's funny? I started sending that girl flowers, the one I told you I cheated on and had the heartache with. I started sending her flowers monthly. And I did it because I felt like I needed to do something to make up for the cheating that I was doing.
I remember the first time I got Claudia flowers, and I think her son asked her, like, oh, what did Vin do wrong?
Yeah.
Because, like, that's...
Well, for guys, the flowers associated with I don't fucked up.
Even at, like, a young age, a kid's 12, 13.
Yeah, well,
like,
when they see their dad on the weekend, they're like, how come you never got mom flowers? Well, that's why, son. The too little, too late.
It is like, but that's how dumb guys are because
Yeah.
then we're like, you know what, we cheated, but if I get you some fucking tulips,
Are we
We
good? Yeah. Yeah.
like I got you the long stems.
Let's talk about women for a minute.
All right.
Because, listen, I think at the end of the day, I think most women, they do tell you what they want.
Yeah.
In weird ways. Again, I find my wife, and again, your sister confirmed this. My wife likes to send me videos of TikTok.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm supposed to like draw a lesson from the TikTok. Like, oh, is that some shit that I do? You want me to stop doing that? That's what you're telling me. I don't stop doing it. She gets aggravated, and it's like, and I get all bent, and it's like, well, I mean, I know what I'm doing.
But would you rather get like those subliminal like hints? Like my wife Claudia would just come out and be like, "Yo, not feeling that." Which like, I mean, there's a sting.
I like
it.
that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like the bluntness. I don't like. Listen, you're gonna fight and argue about stuff sometimes.
100%.
I like to get it out of the way.
Yeah,
and get over it quick.
Yep.
She likes to brood. Bring it up tomorrow, maybe next Wednesday, and it's like, dude, I'm already I'm over talking about that. I've forgiven myself.
You don't need to forgive me because
I've forgiven myself.
I did.
I gave myself a pass on this.
Yeah. I think me and my wife, we will. We haven't really had like a fight. Maybe once, but like we are the master like at ignoring. We're very good at. We're not going to say anything right now, and then we'll sit down and have the discussion. Did you want to pick another card? These are kind of fun.
I really like that. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, we'll pick another card. You're welcome.
It's a great idea.
Shout out to this guy Lovely on TikTok. He made this game and
oh Jesus Christ.
Listen, I'm just trying to help out everybody around here. Oh boy.
If your ex contacted you right now, how would you respond?
Dude, like what cards are you pulling here? Oh, am I going first?
Yeah, you got to. I was crazy. I pulled it out and that just was it. I was reading it as I pulled it and I thought, oh my God.
So if my ex contacted me now for like it doesn't say for like what reason. So would I pick up the phone? Yes.
Okay. That's more than I would do.
Well, yeah, yours is a much different situation. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who might be going through a divorce, and she actually knows my ex-wife, and I think, and I told her, I was like, as much as like shit hit the fan a bit, if my ex called me, was like, I need your help, I would do it. I don't even think I think twice about it. I mean, if that was a few years ago, I don't know, but I think now that I'm good with where I'm at, I understand kind of how I got here for the most part. And like, I'm always going to care about that person. Shit didn't work out, but it doesn't make her a bad person. So, yeah, I'd pick up the phone. I'd take the phone call. I think but that's just how I've always been. I don't think I've ever like totally written someone off, that I was in a relationship with. But yeah, I don't think there's really any, hesitation.
I have three people that I was with for a significant amount of time that I've never spoken to. If we're just talking ex-wives, a few years ago, my ex-wife,
I mean, she's fucking crazy, bro.
She is. My ex-wife sent me a message on Instagram and said, I paid you an extra $195 in child support, but she lived out of state. And the only way they could get it, whatever department of whatever the hell it is, they were like, you could either take them to small claims court or you could just ask them for it. And she was like, I figured I would just ask you for it. And I thought to myself, I mean, it's $195. Yeah. Drop in the bucket for a guy like me. Imagine having to swallow your pride and ask your ex-husband for $195.
I gotta see.
And then I thought to myself, fuck it. Because if this bitch doesn't have $195, I know she doesn't have $75 to file a small claims court. Am I right? Never heard from her again.
Yeah. So we know your answer to that. I think my sister wanted to play this. I want to play. Let's see what she said. Oh, so she's talking about. So when we're going back to the flowers and my dad. So obviously my dad doesn't talk to me or my sisters. So in my phone, his number is who dis.
Oh my God, I like that.
So when like you randomly text me like, you know, hey, your grandfather's dead, it's like who dis. But yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I definitely would pick up. I think, you know, it's weird, I guess, to some people, but I think my ex had this idea in her head that we were gonna do a divorce different and we were gonna get through it and still be friends and
my psychopath did the same thing.
Grow old in a different way together. Like, no, like
we'll be friends forever. No, sure we will. This
like because you're never friends. Like, yeah, you were never my friend, right? But on the flip side, yes, if she hit up the old Sally, I mean, could you blame her too? I mean,
I wouldn't spit on this bitch if she was on fire.
Yo, you would pee on her and stop her with golf cleats.
No,
that is wild.
Yeah.
So it's definitely it's definitely.
Let me rephrase the question then. Right. Speaking of the woman that caused you your first heartbreak, if that was the person that we're talking about, how would you respond?
Same. I haven't talked to her since law school. But,
how do you think Claudia would feel if you took that call?
Honestly, I think she'd be fine with it because, yeah, I know you could look into the screen, because she knows who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Like I am the first, like, not to toot my own horn. I'm not a fucking hero like Trump, but I am
there to dream.
I will be the first to give the shirt off my back and just be like, okay, whatever you need. It's a gift and a curse. I am a problem solver. But yeah, like I said, I think if Mario was to call me after fucking 20 years, I'd be like, yo, I need $194.
Yeah.
Fucking Venmo that shit.
That's nice.
Yeah.
If the girl I was talking about called and I saw it right now, I would just decline the call.
Dude, you went in her face. In a fucking getting some eggs, bro. Like that is wild to me.
Yeah.
Like
listen, I said to her when I walked out of her life forever, I was like, this is it. I think it would be best if we just go our separate ways.
Yeah, I don't.
And I've abided by that.
Yeah, but like I don't understand like why it has to be like forever.
All right,
like you're off to like you jumped on a fucking ship and sailed across the.
I have been in, not counting my ex-wife, I have been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 serious relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking like at least a year of dating somebody. Okay. Met my family.
Yep.
Of those people, okay, only 2 of them are not my friend on Facebook. And I think all of those people I just mentioned are also friends with my wife on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm not a monster. But there are certain people who, I'm a man of my word, right? So again, when I said it's over, this is it, I might even have said this, it's not you, it's me. I might have said, I don't deserve you, something to that effect. Like, because I really cheated with. Ooh.
Okay, Will Chamberlain, we got it. Jesus.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like
the guilt. I couldn't live with the guilt. That was a big part of it.
You
but
good
then
Samaritan, you fucking.
I'm a good guy for doing
guy
that.
Who turns it out and now he's a martyr because he's out here boning bitches. It's wild. Did I just say that on Facebook?
You did.
Yeah. I might get an email from Zuckerberg on that one. I think it's the tequila.
So yeah, no, I wouldn't take the call.
Yeah, no, I mean I understand that. But yes, I don't think if I go back in like my Rolodex and it's very long because look at me, it's exhausting just thinking about the women I blew through in life.
Yeah. Broken hearts everywhere.
I'm a trail of them. I don't think I've ever ran into one that I just wanted to take the phone call. Like I don't, I mean,
so here's another funny story. Towards the end of our relationship, I remember, we had a conversation about what if we broke up, because I was acting different because I had done a lot of cheating and I felt really terrible. And again, it's like when I was with her, I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst person. Why did I do that?
Why were you doing it?
Because women are whores. And I didn't know that.
I
was in college. I grew up very conservative.
Yeah.
And I didn't know women were like down to, I didn't know that. And it seemed like often when I was out and about, because I was in college, I was far away from my girlfriend and my family. It was constant. Chicks are like, "Hey, you want to come back to my room?" And I'm like, "No, I should not do that." And they're like, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm doing it." Southern Connecticut State University.
I don't think
Horseville.
I didn't have that problem, but I was probably the only white kid with a do-rag on campus, so it might have been a little off.
One night, let me tell you this, right? I'll tell you a funny story. I met this girl at the college orientation who was a fucking 10. I mean, the hottest girl on campus. Me and my friends were sitting around, right? And I loved my girlfriend, and I wasn't looking to cheat or anything.
But he did.
This fucking, I'm telling you, dude, a fucking 10. I thought she was like 27 and like a businesswoman. She was just like a put together, beautiful woman. And I'm sitting there and she comes walking over and she goes, "Do you want to hang out?"
Bro, you're just
I swear to God, Vinny, in that moment, I could have jumped out the window. I thought to myself, why does this chick want to hang out? I'm stupid. I really am stupid. And so I was like, yeah, it'd be fun. I go, my friends and I just ordered a pizza. They actually just went downstairs to get it. We hang out for a few hours, having a really nice time. She asked if she could look through my wallet to see if I had a girlfriend.
Oh, well, there we go.
Now, I'm not an idiot. I had already removed the picture of my girlfriend. I really did.
He didn't remove the cash, though.
So it's not like I I sort of suspect. Anyway, I had this like dalliance with this girl for a while because I couldn't fucking believe. Like, why would this person want to be with me? I was a 17th going on 18-year-old boy, and she was also the same age as me. But I'm telling you, you'd have thought she was like 24. It was unbelievable. And so that's kind of where it all started, right? I start living this like double life, and I'm hanging out with this girl, and it takes a long time before anything really develops there. But I'm fucking putting the time in because why does this hot ass woman want to hang out with me? It made no sense to me.
So why does she want to hang out with you, Joe?
So one night, right? I haven't cheated or done anything yet, but I'm like pursuing this girl because I can't even believe I'm in contention. It blows my mind. She stopped by my dorm room one night and she knocked on the door, and I kid you not, in record time, I removed every piece of evidence that I was seeing somebody.
Jesus, Joe.
And this girl even kind of looked around, like I could tell she was like looking around for shit, And so the next night I run into her in the dining hall. And I'm like, "You want to hang out tonight?" And she said, "No, I don't. I got plans." Turns out all this time she had a boyfriend, but that's a story for another time. I dejectedly go home. I stuffed my pockets with I don't even remember, some food from the cafeteria. I wanted to go wallow in my sorrow because I took my shot. You want to hang out? Yeah. And she fucking straight up, I knew this girl really didn't want to be with me. At least not then.
I got her later.
But I go walking up to my dorm, and I, this girl played volleyball, and there were 6 volleyball players sitting there. And I walk up to my dorm, and one of those volleyball players walks up to the dorm same time as me.
I don't want to hear
She
the rest
says,
of this.
"Hey, are you Joe?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I'm that girl's friend. And I go, "Oh," and I'm like, this girl just watched me get like massively rejected.
She's like, yo, I got you.
Yeah.
Bro, like,
Dude, again, I'll tell you right now, I was 17 going on 18, had no idea what life was like. I thought to myself, this girl goes, she goes, "This is my dorm." And I go, "Oh no." I go, I live here too. She's like, "I don't believe you. Show me your room." I swear to God, Vin, show me your fucking room. And I'm like, okay. And we go up the elevator, and I open up the door, and I'm like, ta-da!
yeah, I didn't have that.
She
college
left
experience.
4 days later.
I'm thinking we're just gonna end tonight on that. I have 0 stories.
I swear
like
to God,
that.
Vin,
Like
it made no sense. Can I just tell you one more story?
Then we're doing another card.
This is another Debbie
'Cause
Downer.
one more.
This is
about
another
my college experience.
This is another one of those stories where you're like, your life is fucked up, dude. Right? So one night, I had a friend named Andre who was from the Bronx, and there was this girl in a class that he was with, and he was super into her. She was very pretty, and she was from New Jersey, Italian girl. And he asked her out, and she said, now mind you, this was 1993. She said, "Sorry, I don't date black dudes." My man Dre heard those words, and he said, "Then you should meet my buddy Joe."
That dude's ride or die.
Right?
Are you still friends with him?
I'm not. I unfortunately, I don't have any. I wish I did, because that was
like that guy.
However, let me finish the story. Let me finish
hero.
this story first.
He's a true hero.
Yeah, I thought so in the moment.
Oh no.
So he comes to me, and we were like playing Madden or something, like a Madden tournament, and he's like, "Oh," he goes, "I got you a date," and he tells me the whole story. And I hear, "I don't date black guys," and I'm like, "She said that to you?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't care. Like, it was no big thing. He didn't care."
Oh boy.
And so he gives me her number. So I call her up. We have a nice chit chat on the phone. My whole family's from Jersey. I know Jersey really well. What part of Jersey you from? She goes, "You mean what exit?" People refer to Jersey by the exit. And I was like, I could tell you the name of every one of those exits. I know them all. I'm a real Jersey guy here. So it turned out her family's from North Bergen, New Jersey. That's where my mom and my grandma are from. North Bergen.
Are you guys related? I hope that's where this fucking story is going.
Bro, let me tell you something.
Please, yo,
So
yes.
we talk on the
Yes.
phone. She was like, come over my room
No.
tonight, 7:00.
No,
I'm gonna
no.
make you some dinner.
No.
She was making some like she had a pot, and she was doing spaghetti and meatballs.
She made it just like your family did.
Just like my family did. Yeah.
Tastes like home.
Bro, let me tell you something. Because I was 17, maybe I'd already turned 18 at this point. I was still a mama's boy. And I call my mother up.
Oh no.
And I go, "Oh my God." I go, I'm going out with this girl tonight. I heard I hadn't even met her yet. I heard she's really hot. I go, "She's from New Jersey." She's actually from North Bergen, where you guys are from. And my mother goes, "What's the last name?" And I say, and it was like a relatively common Italian last name. Don't recall it offhand. And my mother goes, "Oh, is her father George?" So my mom has a Jersey accent, by the way. And I go, "I have no idea what her father's name is." And she goes, ask her if her father's name is George. That's my cousin.
Yes. Yeah, you nasty, bro. You nasty.
So I knocked on the door and she answered and she gave me a little kiss on the cheek. And I was like, hold up. I go, is your father named George? She's like, how do you know my father? And I go, because we're cousins.
Yo, you guys are kissing cousins.
Yeah. If I hadn't called my mom,
Dude, that would have been such a better story.
no, it would be a story I would never tell anybody. Jesus Christ.
Let's see what Jackson Ryan said. You guys got to start talking about flowers again. Now we're too deep now. We're too deep. We're gonna do one more card, I think.
All right.
One more. We gotta save them for the rest of the podcast. We don't have a lot in there.
Given a chance, would you restart your life with your current knowledge? Does that mean you get to be a baby and you know all the shit already, or how does that
like
work?
I think it's just like you don't have to learn the things you had to learn. Like you're already here. Like you're already at like 44 bin, right? But like you're like fucking. I don't think it's like you born like a baby and you're fucking like walking around.
Or does it mean would you restart your life knowing what a fucked up world we live in? Could it mean that?
It could.
Because my answer would be no then.
My answer is no anyways. Like I honestly like, because I think everything, like, I think your whole fucking life brings it to this point. Like, it's part of your fucking story. Like, you making out with your fucking cousin, it's part of your story, right? Like, you're fucking weird, bro. I can't even sit next to you. Yeah, no, I don't. I would.
We had pure bloodlines for many, many generations.
Fucking vampires, dude. You guys are fucking vampires.
Keeping the bloodlines pure.
Yeah. No, I don't think I'm good at where I'm at. I think of the mistakes I made, I'm happy I made them. But I guess on the flip side, I guess if you're like, well, if you didn't have to make the mistakes and you already know what you know now, but I think those mistakes make you. Like you get those funny stories, like you get those experiences. So I think that's kind of a light question. I'm not gonna lie. Who do you have here? Whoa!
Yeah, you know,
Deb came in hot.
I
like
appreciate that, Deb, and you are. You've been fantastic, and I shouldn't have said it that way.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean to say was I entered the world of adulthood not having any sort of clue what was really going on in life. I really didn't. I was like woefully unprepared to be living on my own, to go to college and be on my own. It was
but I think
it was bad.
But that's my concern now with kids. Like I think like this.
Well, yeah, now people baby the kids.
Yeah,
it's even
they
worse.
Have like no clue. Like, and I'm super blessed to have a responsible stepson, and he is. But it is a whole different world out there, and when you haven't experienced anything, and then you go out into like it's like the Wild West, like for all intent, like it's everything's new, it's shiny lights, and I think the kids engaging in social media and all that stuff multiplied because I know it was difficult when I got out of high school. Like I had fun in high school, but I wasn't going to a ton of parties. I wasn't running through, girls and all this stuff. And then when you get to college, it went from, okay, I got to be this person because this is what my parents said, to 8 months later, I'm a fucking battle rapping crazy person in college for the next 4 years. And everything is just hitting in your face. So I think that's the adjustment. And I think it's not to say it's more difficult for men, but I think females just mature at a quicker rate.
Yes.
Like a thousand, like when I'm thinking back, even my freshman year, like women were just so far ahead of where I was at when I was at 18, 19
Yes,
years old.
and they still are. They still easily outpace us.
Yeah. So I think it's a bigger adjustment for
but
guys.
People talk about their feelings now. So you have a greater understanding of what you're doing and what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
You know, we came from, again, we didn't talk about that kind of stuff. My parents
No.
never talked to me about sex, about anything to do with that at all.
No, like
And I mean, again, it was a terrible disservice to me as a child. Again, you're gonna send your kid off into the world. You got to tell your, listen. My son was on this show before. I tell my son that there's bad people out there. I think it's important that they don't find out there's bad people the first time a van pulls up and is like, "Hey, you want some candy?" You know what I mean? Like, again, if you don't prepare your kids for the world, and if you don't educate them on, listen, again, you have certain ways you want to live. Like I was talking earlier, you have your ideology. That's the way you want to live, and you want everyone else to live that way.
Yeah, and I think,
but you can't. Like, my wife talks to my son all the time about like the liberal agenda and how utopian the world should be. Yeah. And I'm like, that's nice, but also let them know nobody does that.
Well, correct.
It sucks, but nobody does that. And if you don't know that, and you're out there like living that way, I don't think you're doing your kid any favors when your kid is like, "Hey, I think Santa Claus is real," and you're like, "No, he's real. If you don't believe he's not coming this year, like, stop it. Don't lie to your kid." That's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, we set ourselves up and our children up for failure by babying and protecting people.
Well, and I think going to and I think like a cool topic is that like that whole dating transition, high school to college, and I don't even know where I got it from, because I've always been that like old school guy, like my sister said, flowers, jewelry, like being in relationships. I know I look like I was the man about town. It's my charisma, my good looks, and I have it all, right? But like, I didn't use it to my proper advantage. But but this is what cracks me up about my stepson. Dude's captain of the football team, abs, hair, fucking looks like a light-skinned dude. Like, he's got it all. But like, he's just such a gentleman, right? And my wife, and I razz my wife all the time, and she's just like, "Listen, you got to be an example for my son." Like, and I think like when I had proposed to his mom, I knew I was moving in, and it was one of those, like, that was a big factor in proposing. It's like, I'm moving in. This is how you treat a woman. Like, these are the things you do. And I didn't have that, like, growing up. Like, I didn't have that example. So I was super, like, it was just kind of, I don't know why it was in me, but I think if you don't have that, or your parents don't have that discussion, you really don't know better. You're like, right. Well, it's all out here. So like, I guess I missed out on all this stuff. And, but I think that's part of being a parent, realizing where, hey, this is what I did. I felt that bad. So I'm going to make sure my kids don't go through that. Right. Like, cause as much as I'm sure, they're funny stories and you're shooting the shit with your buddy, we're having tequila, but like, you don't want your son going through that.
No, and that's why I talk about this kind of stuff. I think it's important.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you feel bad about it, it's a check. And
again, listen, I mean, I'm not sharing my exploits, and I hope you understand most of that.
You're swinging a sword.
Most of that didn't quite go down like that at all. It was that's a lot of talk.
It's a lot
quite
of
honestly, Deb.
Photoshop.
I just mean to say I went out into the world and I really women were very aggressive, and I didn't know that was a thing until you know what I mean? It just, because of the perceptions I had as a kid.
Yeah.
I did stupid things.
Yeah.
I got into a lot of trouble too. I got into all kinds of trouble when I was at school, because again, in my neighborhood we would do wild shit, but nobody was gonna say or do anything. Nobody cared. And then we never really got caught, and then you get out into the real world and it's like, oh, you damaged something at college, you have to pay for that, and now you get community service.
Yeah, it's the consequences.
Repercussions and consequences for your actions.
Well, that's what the kids don't have now. My boy Ryan wanted to know if you entered the van or did you scream stranger danger?
You know, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was a kid, man, we had a huge neighborhood. We all hung out. There was about a dozen of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on our way to the mall, which was about 5 minutes from my house. And this van pulled up, and this guy had puppies. I shit you not. If my sister or my brother, any of you guys are, it literally happened by at the end of my street in Meriden. This guy came up,
Which is puppies.
and
I would have been gone, by the way. You know me and puppies, dude.
You would have been, yeah. And that was the last time they saw Vinnie.
I'm gone, dude. Fuck the candy. Give me the puppies.
We started fucking with the guy because it occurred to somebody in the group that this was weird.
Yeah.
You know, somebody noticed the guy had like a wooden leg or whatever. It was like, this is weird, man. I don't trust this situation. But again, I mean, that's how we learned shit when we were kids. You sort of found out. You found out how far you could ride your bike and not make it home. Like that had to happen to you one time where you were like walking your bike up the fucking hill and you're like, oh, I can't ride that far. We tested our limits as kids because there wasn't someone there to explain shit.
Yeah.
And the opposite now is the helicopter parents that are like, I'll just drive you. You don't have to ride your bike.
Yeah, I will say, like,
overcorrection.
My mom was a pretty strict when I was a kid. Like, I didn't have to go find my limits. She just told me what my fucking limits were. And I pushed the limits and then she pushed me. But I needed that. But it's so weird about, like, my buddy Ryan mentions the fucking van because I specifically remember as a kid, like in grammar school, my mom be like, watch out for the blue van. There's a maroon van just running around town. And it was always like associated with, like, I remember like 80% of my childhood in grammar school was just on van watch, just making sure there wasn't a fucking creepy van that was going to fucking pick me up. But like, you think people would catch on and maybe use a different vehicle, but nah.
Yeah.
No, we go.
You'd think they would go with like convertibles.
Yo, convertible with a puppy? Nah, dude.
That's some Ted Bundy shit right there.
I'm fucking gone. I might
my
do that
arm
now.
is broken. You
I might
help me move my sailboat?
I'm pretty sure I'm getting in a van with a puppy right now. Some grown man with a peg leg saying, yo, I got puppies. Bet.
By the way, listen, if you're watching this on Facebook, there is you might have seen a post about this autistic kid, Brendan Cooper. A lot of people have been sharing the post. He's an autistic kid. He's missing from Danbury, Hartford, New London. The police are looking for him. It doesn't say which police department is looking for him. There's no, if you see him, call this phone number. That's a scam.
Oh, dude,
people know that
because I thought you were gonna go.
No, people listen. People will. You have to look at stuff before you share it. You see a puppy's missing and you just want to share it. You want to blindly share it. Right? You love dogs, and that's how they get you. So I've just been seeing a lot of it lately. I talked about this on the radio the other day. I thought worth kind of ending this by talking about that.
Getting scammed by puppy guys.
Yeah, but again, it's the idea of like, listen, people will work on your vulnerabilities, right? A hurt puppy, a missing dog, a missing autistic kid. You're like, oh my God, what can I do? That's where it's sad. That's the world we live in.
Which is wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, I can see like a dog, even though this is going to sound horrible, but if it's like save the dog or missing child, that kid's gonna be missing for a couple more days.
Yeah,
I gotta go get the fucking dog. I'm not gonna lie, kid, you can go figure it the fuck out, but I gotta save a fucking dog. I placed a dog in a permanent home yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So I'm excited about that. That was fantastic. I had a dog from Honduras. It took us about like 7 months to get. We placed her with my wife's cousin Molly, who had a service dog that died.
Oh, you said that last
yeah,
time.
so that was a tough one yesterday because I think like I don't know who rescued who, like the foster or the dog really helped with the foster getting over the service dog, and she's getting another one. But it was a good time. So And so I didn't bamboozle anyone. I didn't scam anyone with a puppy. I actually delivered the puppy. So if you guys are in for a puppy, I got puppies.
A legit source. That's what
Legit
it's. That's what
source.
you're looking
Yes.
for. That's really where it's at. Anyway,
Yeah, we went off the rails a little bit.
it was an
again.
off the rails kind of program.
Yeah. Hope
What are you
everyone
gonna do?
enjoyed it.
The
No,
Dos Equis really gets to you. Dos Hombres or whatever the hell. What is it? Dos Hombres.
we did. I like the cards. I did like the cards, though. I like the questions. Found out that
You'll have
you
to do more of that.
I think you were more hurt by your own actions and the people you actually took the actions on, which was weird. And we'll have to explore that off the camera.
Yeah, my
Joe.
own heart. My worst heartbreak was breaking
other-
my own heart.
And shout out to all the exes that got talked about today. Feel free to hit me up anytime for anything less than $200. So 194 and under, I got you. And if you call Joe for money, he's not giving it to you. So good luck, everybody.
If you want some life coaching with that guy, that's the site.
It is.
ChangePlanCT.com.
Let's go.
All right. This was fun.
I had a good time.
Thanks for coming over.
Anytime, my friend.
He wants to give me a hug, he said. So
It's not happening.
maybe
Not
when
after that. Not after where you just said you would been.
we'll roll the. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
If I got no penicillin on me, I'm fucking good.
I was mostly joking. Let me put it like this, like 95% joking.
Lies.
No, I wish. I please. I wish I was crushing it. I'm not.
Okay.
It's sad.
That doesn't
Anyway.
anymore. See you later.
It's all good. We'll see you next time, next week. Another episode of the Change of Plans podcast.
Cheers.